for something he said at a rally just like this. Shane Copeland, according to Fox News, Shane Copeland said at a protest that he would slaughter Antifa members in self-defense if attacked. Recently, he had his 5 weapons confiscated by the FBI, according to reports. He was not charged with any crime. He surrendered his 5 weapons, including his AR-15. But what did he do? What did he actually do? Well, here's what he said. Quote, if Antifa gets to the point where they start killing us, I'm going to kill them next.
How's it going?
I'd slaughter them, and I have a detailed plan on how I would wipe out Antifa. Notice that he didn't threaten anyone in particular. All the man did was give a hypothetical response to a hypothetical situation. Remember, if it were an actual credible threat, the man would have been charged. He didn't incite anybody to violence. He did nothing illegal. Nothing. Now, was this the smartest thing?
There we go.
Maybe, maybe not. But it wasn't illegal. But that doesn't matter. Because these red flag laws are all about what we might do.
I was going to wear my kilt today.
They're not about what we have done. They're about what someone thinks we might do. They take innocent until proven guilty, and they turn it on its ear to guilty until proven innocent. And not only that, they shift the burden of proof from the state where it belongs to the accused where it doesn't. That violates every tenet of jurisprudence that we have in this country. And that's wrong. You don't even have to say or do anything to get red flags. In Florida, a guy named Jonathan Carpenter was red flagged just because his name matched the bad guys. He got a letter telling him that his carry permit was suspended and that he had to turn in his guns. So he went to the clerk's office and filled out a form to let him know, hey, you got the wrong guy. Was that good enough?
I thought you meant tax stamp.
He had to go to the sheriff's office, show his ID, prove that he wasn't this guy. Was that good enough? Here's a hint. Nope. According to AmmoLand, the sheriff's office supplied Carpenter with a copy of the injunction. In the statement, a plaintiff stated that she rented a room out to Jonathan Edward Carpenter and his girlfriend. She alleged that this Carpenter was a drug dealer who broke her furniture and sold her belongings without her permission. He had a gun, and she feared for her life. She was not sure if the firearm was legal or not. Now, Carpenter never met this woman. Carpenter never lived there. Carpenter has no idea who this woman is. The guy she's talking about is 5'8", and Carpenter's 5'11". The drug dealer's 110 pounds, Carpenter's over 200. Drug dealer's covered in tattoos, Carpenter only has 2. But none of that's good enough because he still had to hand in his guns. He has to wait until a later date when the complainant can testify in court that he's not who they think he is. No matter what documents he showed, his ID, his driver's license, social security cards, bills, proof of residency, nothing. He has to go to court and wait for her to say, no, this isn't the guy. And you know what the best part is? He has to pay for it. The bureaucracy made a mistake, and he's out who knows how much money. Does this sound like due process to you? No. Not a bit. So I guess we're here using the first to defend the first, second, fourth, fifth, and sixth if you think about it. And if you ask me, that's a good thing. You guys get something that the people sitting around at home don't. You understand that sitting around while somebody else fights for your rights is no longer going to cut it. You understand that somebody else isn't going to sign these petitions. Somebody else isn't going to make phone calls. Somebody else isn't going to write letters. Somebody else isn't going to stand here in the middle of their day off and let the people that work here know how we feel about their intentions. But more importantly, you understand something that's far more powerful. You are somebody else. It's up to you. Just as the courts have said that it's up to you to defend yourself because law enforcement has no obligation to defend you, it's up to you to defend your rights because nobody else is going to do it for you. Yeah. So in closing, I'm going to encourage you guys to keep being somebody else. And I'm going to end this the way I end every live stream. In these dangerous times, let the people that work here know what you think about these red flag laws. Send a snail mail, email, carrier pigeon, smoke signal, semaphore, heliograph, telephone, telegraph, bicycle messengers, anything you have to do to let them know what you think, and never, ever, ever give up the fight.
Beatings, torture, denial of food to make you comply. Now they make you comply with paper, security, and you don't get either. Now, remember back in the great day of the Great Depression and the stock market crash? People had a lot invested in their money, and everything was sold up. Everything was sold up, or so the people believed, until the government lost control of the money and it wasn't worth the paper it was printed on. Lots of good people lost their lives because they just couldn't handle being betrayed by their government. We can't ever let that happen again. Now, I'm the campaign of the common man, and I know a lot of you guys out here are Trump supporters. But this is my first campaign stop, and I'm running as your next president. That's right, because look here, it's a big family out there. Someone name me one politician as grassroots that didn't come from money. Anybody? It's a big club, and folks, we ain't in it. And we need common men to do it, because these rich folks, they get a problem, they throw money at it. Do they mow their own grass? No. They hire some refugee or an alien from some other country, mow the grass for cheap, and then they take it out of your tax money to pay them with. And then take more tax money to deport them back to the country that they came from to do a job that they came from and got them to have them do. How wrong can that possibly be? Not that I would deny anybody the choice to come over here and enjoy what we have. The thing is now, as far as conspiracy theories go, and I'm going to go deep in the rabbit hole. Very deep. To poison people, you give them doses in small increments, very small increments, and you make them dependent upon that substance. You know what the next doggone thing is going to be for this country? Plague.
Kylie, come here.
Disease.
Am I walking in front of your camera?
Guess where that disease is going to come from? From the currency in your pocket. The currency in your pocket will be the poison and the plague that will take most of you out. This is your Agenda 21. They want to kill you. They want a silent war. They've been poisoning people for decades. They did it with the American Indian. Hey, here's a blanket. You don't have to freeze. Do you think they care about you? No. These are welfare babies.
Well, thank you.
These are welfare babies. They're paid by you.
Here he is. Everybody give him a round of applause.
I'm Eric Denninger. I'm from Castalia, Ohio, up on the Sandusky Bay. I want to thank all my gun-loving brothers and sisters for standing up and showing up here today. I also want to thank the people who organized this rally, all the Ohio-based gun organizations and their continued efforts in working to expand our constitutional rights. Your tireless work at the State House and video updates from Chris Dorr of Ohio Gun Owners has been a blessing and an education to all of us here. The work you do behind the scenes deserves a proper acknowledgement, and thank you. I'm an Army veteran and a patriot. I took an oath that will never expire. When I think of our founding fathers and the brave man that took up arms against the tyrant king, it gets my heart pumping. I wonder how many of you can imagine the fear they had to overcome in defending themselves, their families, and their lands. No matter how many times I sing along to the Star-Spangled Banner, the words take me there, and that lump in my throat cracks my voice every single time. Then my eyes begin to tear up, just thinking about all the bloodshed, the loss of life, the sound of gun and cannon fire, the smell of black powder in the air, and the bravery it took to stand and fight when the fear was overwhelming, and the nation's embrace of the widows and fatherless children left behind and alone to carry on this brave new nation of free men. These families endured the hardships for all of us to prevent us from having to. Yet here we all are again, crossroads of tyranny and liberty. Our founding fathers were not only brave, but brilliant. We recall their quotes still today because they said what they said mattered as much then as it does now. And they realized a few years after signing the Constitution that they needed to expand our rights to include the amendments that our enemies seek to take away from us here and now. But of all the rights granted within our Constitution, none of them, with the exception of the Second Amendment, include the following language: shall not be infringed. They view the right of the people to keep and bear arms in such high regard that it became second only to the First Amendment right to speak freely, as we are doing here today. But in knowing how easily government can silence the people, they made sure to add the language, shall not be infringed. Page 2. To the Second Amendment, to preserve the rights of the people from being abused by the threat of a tyrannical government. These rights are not granted by government, they protect us from government. This government right here. Any man or woman, any lawmaker, any governor, or elected office of the people who will be willing to trade your liberty to keep and bear arms for the promised lies of safety deserve neither liberty or safety. And if these elected lawmakers inside this building right here trade our liberty to keep and bear arms for the promised lies of safety, they will get neither from all of us standing shoulder to shoulder here today. Red flags laws have nothing to do with saving lives, but everything to do with control. We know the only way to end the crazed mass shooter isn't the restriction of the people's right to defend themselves, but the expansion of their rights to put more guns in the hands of good people, like all you here today. The same kind of people that liberated themselves from tyranny, we continue to fight right here, right now. This country was founded and freed from tyranny by the very guns in use today. Technology doesn't change these rights. And yes, they were weapons of war. They always have been, and always will be the people's weapons of war. Just like there has always been evil in the hearts of man since Cain and Abel. And it wasn't a mental illness that drove Cain to murder his brother. It was evil. We have always had a culture of gun violence. And just like today, evil lived in our history. But so did the good guy with a gun. He protected his home, his family, his business, his livestock, his neighbors, and himself. It's no secret that we have an endless arsenal of underground black market guns. We also have an endless underground black market culture of illegal drugs. It's easy to see how the two end up on the streets together. Evil lives here, and we live there too. And when lawmakers create laws like gun-free zones, they trade liberty for the sake of safety, and it's a lie. Gun-free zones need to be abolished. Law-abiding citizens don't kill people in malls, bars, taverns, concert venues, airports, schools, hospitals, police stations, or courthouses, and other government buildings. Criminals do. And criminals don't care what signs you post there, what background checks you implement in buying guns, old laws on the books or new ones. Criminals rob, steal, vandalize, assault, rape, and kill without a thought about what laws they've broken against society. Criminals don't discriminate between victims either, no matter what the age, color, or sex is. Criminals believe criminal behavior isn't a mental health crisis, it's evil. Gun ownership doesn't make a mental health crisis. Mental ill people have been neglected by lawmakers in favor of welfare and other voter-friendly programs. I'm going to shut her up right here.
Protect more than we kill.
And they'll continue to roam our neighborhoods under the influence of drugs and or alcohol, while others remain untreated. That's the mental health crisis. So whether or not the mentally ill or evil criminal uses a firearm, knife, an automobile to kill themselves or others, no gun law restricting the rights of the people is going to stop them from doing either. So lawmakers, you have a choice. Voter welfares or institutions for the mentally ill. Get them off the streets. Because we all know that the criminal will always have access to the guns on the streets. As long as this is our reality, I'll be damned if I'll be restricted to the protections of my firearms. Gun control advocates would like nothing more than to expand the mental health crisis to include gun ownership. Our legislators want us to believe that red flag laws are going to be the answer to preventing gun violence. What they fail to realize is something all of us already know. They can't legislate evil. And just because a person is evil, it doesn't make them clinically mentally ill. But make no mistake, red flag laws will be abused and expanded to take our guns away from law-abiding gun owners for whatever reasoning they can add on later. And who decides what people are to be flagged by mental health professionals? The anti-gun doctor, counselor, psychiatrist, prosecutor, or judge? And what behavior will get you red flagged? Being a veteran, seeking treatment for PTSD, threats you made against your television at home because you were pissed at the evening news. Your posts, your shares, your likes on Facebook or other social media sites about a bad divorce from a former spouse where you made an offhand, idle comment that you would have never acted on either before or after your divorce. What about your present partner in life? What about your kids, their friends' parents, their social media, their teachers, coaches, and other school administrators? How far-reaching will this be expanded to? Remember, it only takes a phone call and an accusation to not only take your firearms, but it will cost you in defending yourself against them financially. And even when you're exonerated, you still got to get your firearms back. How much do you think this is all going to cost? I'm sure the lawyers all over the state of Ohio are just waiting to cash in on our misfortunes where red flag laws are concerned. I refuse to be a victim. I've refused to be legislated by tyrants with an agenda to change my Constitution, where they have no authority to do so. I will not comply. I will not be disarmed because someone's feelings are hurt. My rights don't end where feelings begin.
Absolutely right.
This is my Constitution. Without this firearm, there is no freedom from the unlawful legislators and the criminals they enable by enacting red flag laws. There is no liberty where freedoms are diminished and property is taken in the name of safety.
Absolutely right.
Almost done. When the Ohio legislature makes this patriot an outlaw, this patriots and others like him will be prepared to do what our outlaw, patriotic forefathers did before us. We will take up arms against tyranny to protect our families, our communities, and defend our constitutional republic.
It's defending her.
If there is any legislatures or their aides hearing this message, take this back with you. When you don't respect the people, you don't fear them either. This is where tyranny lives. When the people no longer trust their elected representatives to uphold their oath of office, to support and defend the rights of the people and the Constitution, it is not only the right of the people, but the duty of the people to defend the Constitution and restore the Republic, destroying the tyrannical government. Red flag laws are where we, the lawful people of Ohio, draw the line against this tyrannical legislation and stand firmly against it. We will not comply. Thank you all. God bless Ohio and the United States.
Thank you, Mr. Dedinger. All right, we have Mr. Austin Harold, who's going to come up here. All right, Mr. Harold, we appreciate you. Round of applause.
I want to start my speech off with a moment of silence for Gary J. Willis. He was a 61-year-old from Glen Burnie, Maryland, who was killed by police during a red flag law confiscation. Kind of puts it a little bit more into perspective while we're here. Once again, we gather here because our rights are on the chopping block. Once again, politicians attempt to curb the unlawful by further regulating the law-abiding. And once again, we stand here to show that that's not going to be tolerated, accepted, or obeyed. I've mentioned this before, both in public and in private, that if we give an inch, they'll take a mile. Admittedly, on paper, a red flag law sounds halfway decent. Who wouldn't want to stop a tragedy from occurring on the scale we've been recently seeing? It's never that cut and dry, though. Without spending too much time on the obvious, we know that under red flag law, all it takes is an anonymous phone call to strip your rights. And I do mean rights, plural. I got my dude over there with a pole sign with a list of them. The rights that red flag laws in their simplest executions are a blatant violation of our 2nd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 14th. And I would even argue the 1st. Because all you have to do is you would have to be stifling your freedom of expression if you don't want the prying eyes of Johnny Law bearing down upon you, such as peeling off the stickers of your gun company logos from the back of your truck window, or moving your gun to your car after a range trip in a way nobody will see you, or just not even wearing "Don't Tread on Me" or another gun-themed apparel. We like to say the second defends the rest, and well, if it goes, the rest are going to follow shortly behind it. There's something I want to touch on about red flag laws here real quick. We all know what they entail, obviously, but I'm sure we all don't know what various guises they come under. Various counties, regions, and states may call red flag laws a myriad of other things that at first don't seem like those 3 dreaded words. Now, this isn't a concrete list, but more of a sample of what we could be facing depending on where you live or your current location. And I encourage you to follow through with this and do your own further research into the subject. The states with red flag laws already on the books or with red flag laws in the works refer to them by the following: extreme risk protection orders, gun violence restraining orders, risk warrants, proceedings for the seizure and retention of a firearm, and here in Ohio, safety protection order. But along with these come with the idyllic situation that you would get your firearms back after a predetermined period by the court. But all it would take is a renewal by the court or another one of those dreaded anonymous phone calls crying wolf to never see them again. You got to do your homework to stay up on that. But about the waiting period, it's never just as easy as waiting for them. You can't just wait for them, the time period to elapse and then just hand your firearms back. We've been touched on this by several speakers, but you were going to have to fight in court to prove your innocence because remember, these laws violate due process, and that comes with a load of court and lawyer fees, lost work time, and not to mention the general headache of the entire ordeal. And to try to keep this a little more local, our own governor, Mike DeWine, was quoted saying, the previous governor tried what they called a red flag law. It did not have the procedure. It did not have the due process, DeWine said. We developed this particular bill in consultation with a number of our Second Amendment friends. If our governor is aware of the potential abuse of the law, I just can't see how you can add verbiage to a law that operates fundamentally on circumventing it. If it somehow did meet the perfect balance, a judge would still have to make the determination. Every one of those dreaded phone calls will land you in a courtroom having to make your case. Heading to the range to meet your friends inside in that new AR-15, and your vehemently anti-gun neighbor sees you loading your trunk with that scary black gun, a few mags, and a case of ammo. It won't be like how it used to be where the officer simply asks for your papers and where you're headed and wishing you a safe time at the range. Instead, because the neighbor felt like you were heading off to commit an atrocity, now you have to get hauled off to a courtroom to prove intent. The officer has no authority to make the choice for the judge because it's red flag law. And since our governor is aware of the problems with red flag laws, we also need to make him aware of the problems we have with it. We are the only ones who can and will make them aware and understand that we will not allow this. Also said at the last rally, we're all we've got. Nobody has our backs now. Just a brief internet search will show that we're all we've got. It really is. The NRA, our president, and the pile of other reps and senators have turned their backs to us. This may come as a shocker to some, but all you gotta do is just a brief search. We've been tread on, not only by our enemies, but by the people we thought we could count on. We are truly all we've got. We're the only help we're ever gonna get. But we should only be the only help we're ever gonna need, though. We need to stop any infighting and wholly unite against the threat to our rights. I mean, look at what happened as a result of the last rally in March. This isn't about believing in ourselves or donating to the few honestly pro-gun groups we have left or signing an internet petition every once in a while. As much as I recommend doing those things anyway, we need to recognize our enemies aren't always people, but actions and state of mind. You have to remove the shroud of ignorance, pride, and inaction to continue to educate ourselves politically and be active on our stance. We can no longer assume that people in power will honestly bolster our rights and support us as they claim, even if we voted them in. Understand that a new threat to liberty and exploiting the frailty of our rights are just a pin stroke away. Just waiting around for the next election season won't cut it. Remember, it's to the point now that the second is no longer the only amendment in harm's way. We need to defend them all as much as we do the second. From here on out, we are the only ones that are willing to do that, and we need to keep it up, no matter who's in office. We say, don't tread on me, and now we have to own it. Before I go, I want to remind you all that red flag laws are the current greatest threat we face, but don't let that allow any other gun registration to get under the radar because this is the current hot topic. Thank you.
Next I'm going to have Skylar come up, man. We can't thank this guy enough. If there's an event and there is security needed, this guy is there. He's got your back. He's got the organization. They've got the training. They understand the responsibility they have, man. We're blessed to have these guys. Really appreciate them. Hey, baby. So let's get Skylar up here. First, say hi to my daughter, Lamaya. All right, here's Skylar. Everybody, round of applause.
Thanks, guys. I'd like to point out that it's not me. My commander, Hank Stewart, General Blackhoof. As most of you know, we've just recently switched organizations. We've rebranded into our own, but we haven't dropped the ball. We've continued on. But that's not why I wanted to get up here and speak today. I'm not a public speaker. I am politically incorrect, and I'll just say it plainly, I'm an asshole. First and foremost, hey, all patriots, even you guys out there that are standing in line, bring it in. Ignore them. Come on, bring it in here. Bring it in tight, guys. Don't let them run space. Just ignore them. We've ignored them all day. They're starting to get a rise. Bring it in here close. Because the fact of the matter, hell, if you want to come on in, sweetheart. You should hear this too. Unity. That's why I'm up here. Unity. I'm standing here in front of all these militiamen and women, patriots, God-fearing Americans. We may stand under different names. We may stand under different rank structures. That doesn't matter. We all need to come together. Here's the problem in our country. People like that are united. Take the Beta Cuck guy from Portland. The one that attacked the buses and took a hammer to an old man on a bus. He was arrested. He was charged. Guess how much money his GoFundMe right now is sitting at? Anybody know? $25,000. My next question. If I walk out there and blast one of them in their face and go to jail for 3 days and get charges, you all gonna raise $25,000 for me?
Fuck yeah!
We won't, though. We won't. That's the difference. It's time we drop the egos. It's time we drop the bullshit. We ignore their rhetoric, because the bottom line is this. They haven't broken any laws. They're exercising the exact same rights that we are. And if we try to keep them from exercising their rights, we're no better than they are. We come out here peacefully today. I don't even know how many firearms loaded there are out here. You know, and maybe back in 1775, maybe we would have just formed a firing line and, you know, eliminated the nonsense, but it's 2019. They have every right to stand there and run their suck as long as they want, provided that they don't ever try to cause physical bodily harm. At that point in time, foot, ass, yeah, not gonna be good. Unity is key. Militia leaders, militia members, reach out to other organizations. You know, let's get a plan in Ohio. Let's let Ohio set the standard, set the bar for all other states. We're not united. Let's unite Ohio first and bring all patriots together to shut this nonsense up. God bless each and every single one of you. Thanks for coming out. This has been one of the best rallies I've been to at this Capitol building, because we ignored them. We didn't feed into their bullshit. They stood there and talked and wasted their time all day. We stood here and accomplished something. We came together. We stood as one. I'd like to thank this man and everybody else that was a part of organizing this. Guys, sorry I wasn't able to be more a part of it. We've been stupid busy. I'd also like to thank this man. You know, 2.5 years ago, he come to me and said, hey, let's get involved in our community. Let's join a 3% organization. And I'm like, oh man, have you lost your ever-loving mind? Like, what the hell are you getting me into? Like, I'm not in the Marine Corps no more. Do I have to sign on the dotted line? So we did it. You know, we went all in. We fell in with a group. Not getting into all that. We're no longer that group. We're totally different. We will work with anybody. We will accept anybody. Size, shape, color, religion. You know, we prefer that you don't kill babies, but that's still your right for now. We have to love one another. We have to show these idiots compassion as well. We can't come out here and engage them like they engage us, because we're better than them. Yeah. We come out here with God in our heart. We come out here with the Constitution in our heart. I don't even need to talk about red flags. These fine speakers today have nailed the red flag issue on the head. It's not gonna happen. Come and fucking take them. Don't talk about it. Come and take them if you want. But be prepared for the biggest frickin' fight of your life, because you ain't getting mine. Or my neighbors. God bless you all. Thanks for coming.
Jenny Day. Okay. You don't want to do announcements? Okay. I know you were going to be short. We don't have a lot of time anyway, so here you go.
Not feeling very well. Hello, my brothers and sisters out there. How you doing? Only one thing I want to say. One thing I want to say. This man right here, the very first video he did, I knew something was going to happen. And it happened. He kept on and teaching and teaching and teaching and bringing us all together. Jeremy, I am so proud of you, Jeremy. I really am. I can drop you off. I love my people. I really do. But Jeremy and Lisa and Paige and Julie and TJ, there's just some of the people you get attached to, you know, and you just can't help. I mean, I love everybody, even them back there. I don't like what they stand for, but I still love, as the Lord Christ said to do. I am a Christian, and I try so hard to be the Christian that I'm supposed to be. And I will not comply. I'm 61 years old. I've got a couple disabilities, and ask me if I care if they freaking try to kill me, because I don't, because I know where I'm going to go. Now, let me tell you what happened. I will have to say this. I was assaulted by 300-pound women in May. 2, just to take my dog. I went down and got a court order against them. They went down and got one on me and said I couldn't carry my gun. So when I went to court, the judge, he gave me a hint, and so did a sheriff. You know, he said, well, you know, sometimes papers don't work. They knew I didn't have nothing on my record. And he was looking at me, and I read between the words, paper, gun. Which one is going to save my life? This freaking piece of paper or this gun? Okay, all right, I'll drop the restraining order against them. So they dropped it against me. And the sheriff nods his head, you know. I'm like, okay, I get this. So they give me the hint. See, not all sheriffs and police are against our weapons, our Second Amendment right. They're really not. But the people across the street is against my right to carry. I open carry majority of the time now. You know, I do. I don't care. I'll just put it in the front here so I'm ready. Because, you know, looky, come on, think about it. How long is it going to take me to get this out and fumbling around if somebody's going to attack me again? They got a second thought coming to them, I can tell you that right now. Oh, will I go to jail for that? I could care less. But God bless all of you guys, and I love you guys so much, Jeremy, and I thank you for all your hard work and all the videos that you do. You have helped me more than you can imagine. I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of Lisa, and then Miss Penny back there. All of y'all, every one of you. God bless you.
God bless you. We appreciate you. We've got a representative from the Southern Ohio militia. Is the gentleman still here with us? There he comes. CJ. TJ. That's what I thought at first, and then I thought I heard C. All right, TJ, we appreciate you, brother. This is our brother that helped us with the invocation. Let's give him a loud round of applause here.
Thank you, guys. American Patriots! We're here! We are here to stay! I love this country, guys. I'm telling you what, this country is the greatest country, and it's built because of patriots. It's built because of the patriots and the blood that was shed for us. I was talking with a friend of mine here just the other day. He was over in China. And he said that in order for them to go from one part of China to another, they go through check stations. And in those check stations, you're searched. Every single bit of your vehicle is searched. And he said it didn't matter whether you was military or not. It doesn't matter. They searched. And they went through, and if they found anything, you was detained for hours, sometimes days, sometimes weeks. And it's just a big bunch of paperwork just to get out of it. Here in the United States, I went down to Ashland, Kentucky, and I worked there, and I drive across the river into Ohio, no checkpoint. I drove across the bridge, no checkpoint. I come up here, no checkpoint. I go to Indiana, no checkpoint. I hopped on a plane, flew out to Washington, drove over into Oregon, no checkpoints. It doesn't matter. When you get over here, we have freedom because of what our people, our ancestors, our military, they died for. These red flag laws that they're trying to pass, China has a red flag. It's a big, bright red flag. Well, ours is the United States with a whole united in it. Those stars stand for something. Every 50 stars that's on there stands for something. It stands for the blood that was died, the people that were patriots that lived years ago in the 1700s that fought against the British for us. Our brother here was talking about the war that was going on there. There was 7 points that was brought up. 7 different things that the British government started doing before our people, our patriots, and fought for our rights. Those 7 things, those 7 stages, the Tea Party, the different acts that happened there, those were things right there that set our foundation for this Constitution that we have today that provides the freedom. I stand with my brothers, my patriots, my brothers in arms, all of us, we stand against these red flags because they destroy everything that our founders have stood for. I am not going to let that happen. And I believe everyone here is going to be standing the exact same way. We are not going to let that happen. I traveled all the way from the southern part of Ohio to be up here. I know people that's traveled from Wisconsin, Nebraska, different places to come here to be able to stand because we're not going to let that happen. We have patriots that are going to make sure that that's not going to happen. And I believe everyone here has a voice. And our brother earlier was talking about getting out and speaking that. Speak to your neighbors. Tell everybody about it. I have talked to I don't know how many people just coming in here today, and people were like, what's the gathering going on? I said, oh, we're here to fight about red flag laws. And they're like, what's red flag laws? They don't know. People don't have a clue because we're not out educating. It comes up on every single one of us to sit and educate those people out there so they know what's going on. If you don't know, how are you going to fight against it? You got to fight against it because you got to know. Knowledge is power. Let's get some knowledge out there. Get out there and tell your neighbors about these things that's going on. When you get over here and you try to take my guns because of some person that's reporting something, you got to have proof. These red flags go in, don't have to have proof. It's up to me to prove that I'm innocent. That ain't right. We're going to stand against that. And I appreciate you guys. I'm from Southern Ohio, and I appreciate every one of y'all. The Southern Ohio Outdoorsmen, we're going to stand with you guys.
Thank you, brother. All right, Eva, did you want to come up real quick? All right.
Here's what the reality becomes, and we see it. The issue that we're going to run into is in every American, every one of us, and whether we're represented here today or we're not, and I may get a little emotional, so give me a minute. How many of us have honestly seen other countries falling apart? And they call upon the U.S. Why do they call upon us? Because we are the biggest, baddest dog in the barn. I mean, we're going to come handle shit, and they know it. That's why they call upon us. That's fact. Here's another fact. If you've ever been to a funeral and you've watched a soldier come home and that flag has been draped over that casket and you're standing there and that 21 gun salute goes off and those hairs on the back of your neck raise, you can't help but feel a pit in your stomach. That's American pride. That comes from Americans knowing that no matter what we have ever faced as a nation, no matter what our diversities have been, not only have we saved ourselves, but we've saved many, many others, and we still do to this day. We have to get back to basics. We have to go back to American pride. American fundamentals where the red, white, and blue, the Star-Spangled Banner, those 21 guns going off, and that flag draped across that coffin mean something. And what they mean are the big dogs are awake and we're barking. Don't make us bite.
Our organizer's page is going to come up, say a few things, and she's got something to read to you. Big round of applause, please.
Thank you, everybody. And I just want everybody to know that I've been having a lot of conversations. There's been conversations that have been taking place today. And there's patriots that are out here that are working behind the scenes. And we're going to make sure that these criminals in here that have sworn an oath to uphold, that we found every single section that they have violated so far. And we're going to be presenting that so we can legally take these guys' asses out of here, in fucking cuffs. And we have 350 copies of this paper right here.
It's to put them on notice.
And it is going to put them on notice because legally they're going to be able to be arrested and taken out of here because they have violated their oath to their own office, every single one of them. And that's before the red flag laws. This is before then. So we're going to handle this. And I suggest that everybody come up here and get a copy of this paper because it says upon being sworn into the public office that you currently hold, you have recited a sworn oath to support and defend the Constitution as per Title 5 U.S. Code 3331. Moreover, your own recognizance, you admit that you would, hold this for me, take this obligation freely without mental reservation or purpose of evasion, that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office. Within 60 days of accepting unemployment from we the people, you were to complete an affidavit as per Title 5 U.S. Code 3333 stating that you would not violate Title 5 U.S. Code 7311, which now states, any individual that may not accept or hold a position in the government of the United States or the government of the District of Columbia, if he advocates the overthrow of our constitutional form of government, moreover, a provision of Executive Order 10450, which specifies that it is a violation of Title 5 U.S. Code 7311 for any person taking the oath of office to advocate the alteration of the form of government of the United States by unconstitutional means. At this current point in time, you have violated not only your oath, which I refer to the loyalty clause in Article 6, Section 3 of the U.S. Constitution, but you have also violated Title 5 of the U.S. Code 7311, according to Title U.S. Code 1918. You are entitled to your due process. Then you shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 1 year and a day or both. By you and your representatives advocating gun legislation in any manner within the state of Ohio, you have also violated Title 18, U.S. Code 242, deprivation of rights under color of law, Title 18, U.S. Code 2383, rebellion or insurrection, Title 18, 241, conspiracy against rights. It is imperative that you understand that Volume 18 reflects the law as it is known to exist after the 14th Amendment in 1868. In that volume, Congress published a section, the Organic Laws of the United States of America. And that section includes 4 documents: the Declaration of Independence, the Articles of Confederation, the Northwest Ordinance, and the Constitution of the United States. So when you violated your oath to the Constitution, you violated your oath to the other 3 organic laws. What's more, understand that the Bill of Rights is not a source of rights, but restrictions against the government, its agents, self as yourself. You have violated the 2nd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 8th, the 9th, the 10th, and the 14th amendments within the Constitution, as well as 1, 2, 4, 5, 14, 16, and 20 under Article 1 of the Ohio Constitution. And we the people are watching, and we have had enough of the blatant disregard for the public office that you held and you outrightly disrespected, and disdain that you possess not only of the only U.S. Constitution, but our state constitution as well. And we the people are watching you, and we've had enough of the blatant disregard that is going on in this building that's right behind us, that is ours, that we have paid for. And we are currently in possession of your oath of office, when we will be in contact with proper channels in order to hold you accountable to the aforementioned violations. Constitutionally yours, of we the people. That was written by Mr. Joe Burlak, and I give him all the credit for writing that. We have 350 copies of these. So I implore anybody that's listening to me that's in law enforcement, you need to go home. And you need to read everything that is in these sections. Because by rights, we should be taking all these people out of office. And every single representative. And by God, that's what we're going to do. In cuffs, doesn't matter. Nathan Mazzari, you and your family have been an inspiration to me. And standing here today is part of the reason that why I do what I do, why I fight so hard, why I love every single one of my brothers and sisters, why my family is sitting at home, why my kids are patiently coming with us, because we have to stand now If we don't stand now,
Tell them they can address it.
yeah, and we can address it, dear representative. You can address it to anybody. But it's now that we take them out in handcuffs, and we're going to pay the law enforcement that is legally getting a paycheck from us. They'll be able to do that. So Mike DeWine, we're coming for your seat, and you're coming out of this place in cuffs.
But it's the one and only Bruce Beatty, man. Let's give him some love. Come on. If you guys can't hear, if you're not close enough to the speaker, move in. You're gonna want to hear what he has to say. Okay, we got 2 boxes going around with those letters. If you guys want one, Paige, my God, we just love you. We just love you. All right, the one and only. And like I said, if you're not close enough, you're gonna want to get closer so you can hear what he has to say. Here's Bruce. Round of applause, please.
Boy, she's a hard act to follow. I'm glad to see everybody out here today, and I'll try to keep this very short and get us out of the sun. Been doing a lot of reading and studying lately, and there's something on my mind I want to share with all of you. Quite a while back in our history, a group of very wise men sat down and put 6 words that started a document, and they were, in the course of human events. You remember that? Anybody heard that? July 4th, 1776 was when our founding fathers stood up to the King of England and said, "We will not comply. We're done. We've had it. Get your butts out of our country." A few years later, they wrote another little document. Started with just 3 words. We the people. And we know what that document stands for, and we know we stand for the document. We have these people out here protesting us today, and what they fail to understand, I tried to talk to them, but they just don't get it. They're able to do what they're doing right now because we're doing what we're doing right now. We're protecting their rights to try to take ours away. I don't know about you, but I'm not too pleased about it, but I support them 100%. Let them dig their own hole. Now, this red flag thing that good old Mike DeWine has decided he wants to push, trust me, I did everything I could in the primary season to talk everybody out of voting for him, but unfortunately I wasn't able to. What Mr. DeWine doesn't understand is if he'd bothered to read the Ohio Revised Code that he is sworn to uphold and protect and defend and obey, Section 5122 covers red flag. It's already there. They can come in and take somebody away if they have an issue. It's right there. Read it. I've been in this game fighting for our rights for, actually, since when I enlisted in the military in '74, maybe a little before that. My oath of office doesn't expire, never will. I know we have a lot of veterans out here, and I want to thank all of them for their service, but, or shall I say, and, they're just a group of the rest of us. We're all in the militia. We're all we the people. That's what we need to remember. We the people run this place, whether these people in here want to believe it or not. This is our house. It's not theirs. It's not Mike DeWine's. We need to take it back any way we need to do. And what we need to do that, you need to get everybody you know involved in this. Get them out there. Get them off their butts. Get them to vote. Get them to get active. I can't understand why we don't have 3,000 or 4,000 people over here today. I don't understand that. All right? So, let's say I'm going to give you all a commission. Next time we have a meeting like this, bring 2 people. Get them to bring 2 people. We got a lot more people than they ever would. We've been silent too long. We need to get off our collective asses and get in this fight or we're going to lose it. I want to thank everybody that showed up out here today from the bottom of my heart. Between me, my 3 brothers, their 3 wives, and my father, God rest him, we gave 98 and a half years to this country. And we're not done yet. You people are we the people. We need to remember those 3 words. God bless you all and God bless America.
All right, we're going to have Dan join us, we're going to have Mark join us, and then we're going to close out.
Thank you. Y'all don't know me, most of you, and I'm not going to go to bore you with who the hell I am. I'm going to tell you 3 stories. Number 1, my daddy was a Cleveland cop. My daddy's best friend was a Cleveland cop. They went on the force together. In 1968, in a city called Glenville, suburb of Cleveland, not even a suburb, black nationalist snipers took down my uncle, 3 other cops. They had Garands. They had hunting rifles. The police had Model 10s and shotguns. My daddy, sitting at home, heard all this on the scanner. First thing he did, he threw his old M1 carbine in the trunk of his car, and he's on his way down going to the sound of the guns. When he got there, you know what he found? He found his fellow cops behind their cars and behind cover, not with their shotguns, not with their Model 10s, but with high-powered hunting rifles that civilians brought them out and gave to them. Civilians are the friends of law enforcement. Armed civilians are the backup of law enforcement. We are not the enemy of them, and they are not our enemy. Unless these guys make them that way. These guys and their goofy laws that these guys have to enforce. Red flags being one of them. Red flag laws. Don't take this bullshit that they sound reasonable. Let's think about that a minute. If you have enough evidence to determine somebody is a danger to themselves or society, why aren't you getting them off the street rather than just their guns? The most dangerous weapon is the person. Get them off the street, keep them off the street. If you can't trust them with their rights, don't let them out of prison. Right? These guys are the problem. Their incompetence and impotence, they cannot keep criminals off the street, and then they can't take them off the street. Those are the laws we need to address. Not taking guns from honest people, the friends of law enforcement, the backbone of our society. Thank you very much.
All right, Mark, you got a second here? It's all you, brother.
All right, folks, I'm going to give you a quick backstory. I was born a lonely white child, as Steve Martin would say. Hey, but check this out. My mother was Pearl Johnson. My father, Wilbur E. Johnson. He was the chairman of the board for GM for 18 straight years, whether he ran or not. He didn't have to run to get in. Now, my mother took in all the children from everywhere, and our household was black, white, Chinese, Asian, Mexican. My daddy had one rule. You're going to get into fights. Either you all come home together or don't none of you MFers come home at all. You're going to stand together, you're going to do what you're going to do, and you're going to come home together or you're not coming home. These were the rules. And we were the baddest family on 5th Street. All black neighborhood, and we didn't take no crap off nobody. There was too many of us, just like we the people. We are now fighting a smaller military force, and they are using guerrilla warfare tactics against us. They are dividing us. They're giving us different issues to bicker about and complain about. But as the Johnson family held, we never let that shit get in the way. Black, white, and candy stripe, we all came home together. Sometimes we got our asses kicked, but not that many times. But we all came home and we all broke bread together. Look to your left, look to your right. This is what makes America. And that's what makes us the greatest goddamn force on this planet. Be proud. I'm outie.
Yeah.